So let's move on to the next topic. Okay, see, you have learned DNA is copied to DNA based on complementary base pairing. Then DNA is copied to RNA based on complementary base pairing. Okay, DNA to RNA. Okay, what's the process called? When an RNA is formed from DNA based on complementary base pairing, what's the process called? It is called transcription. Okay, then what is the next process? What you want to learn next is for copying of RNA to amino acid chain. What is it called? Protein. Okay, this process is known as translation. The process is known as translation. Okay, then our concern is this became very easy because complementary base pairing exists. This is not very easy, so that you have learned genetic code. So now you know 3 nucleotides on the mRNA is coding for 1 amino acid. For example, if it's AUG on the mRNA, if the triplet is AUG, that is representing methionine amino acid. You know that. Genetic code you have learned. Okay. Then, but very interestingly, this amino acids, this methionine cannot go and bind to this AUG. If it's thymine opposite to there, it can bind. Otherwise, uracil opposite adenine is there, it can bind. But amino acids are having no structural specification to bind to the triplet codon. It cannot read the triplet codon directly, or it cannot attach to the triplet codon directly. Okay, when we use charger, when we our socket, our plug point, if it is not fitting properly, the charger if it is not fitting properly, what we do? We use an adapter. Okay, similarly, here is the use of an adapter molecule. Okay, so an adapter is the molecule which is making this fitting easy. I mean, the methionine can be attached to AUG easily, but not directly. So here is the requirement of an adapter. The adapter is nothing but a tRNA molecule. That is what is our next topic is tRNA. Structure and function of tRNA, transfer RNA. Okay. Which are the different types of RNA you have learnt? mRNA, messenger RNA, then tRNA, transfer RNA, and rRNA, ribosomal RNA. All these 3 types of RNA's function will be clear in the translation. Okay, their role is in the translation, we will discuss it. Then come back to tRNA. What is the expansion? Transfer RNA. Okay, then the transfer RNA is what? Made up of 1 polynucleotide chain. You know, DNA only made up of 2 polynucleotide chain, whereas tRNA is made up of single polynucleotide chain. Okay, from 5 prime one end 5 prime, other end 3 prime. Single chain. But this chain is not remaining in a primary structure as a horizontal rod. It is in a secondary structure, in the 3D structure. Most of the time it remains in the 3-dimensional structure. In the 3-dimensional structure, it is forming an L-shaped structure. Okay? Whereas in the 2-dimensional structure, the tRNA, which is most significant for translation. This 2-dimensional structure is used for translation. Okay, that means a tRNA can enter translation, can help in translation in this level, 2-dimensional structure. This was proposed by Hawley in 1964. The 2-dimensional structure of tRNA was proposed by Hawley. Okay, this structure resembles a clover leaf. So this is known as clover leaf model. So clover leaf model of 2D structure of tRNA was proposed by Hawley, and this resembled a clover leaf. Clover is what? What is clover? Clover you are familiar. In cards, clover you are familiar. Shape of this is clover in cards. Okay. Whereas clover leaf means, in the rubber plantation you can see. In between rubber there is a pea plant. Okay. Creeper. As creeper you can see, it's having a leaf like this. Okay, like clover. So this type of a leaf model, the clover leaf model, was proposed by Hawley, and this is what we are going to discuss now. Clover leaf model of tRNA proposed by Hawley. It is a two-dimensional structure, not the three-dimensional structure. Okay, three-dimensional normal structure is L-shaped. Then the structure which is involved in protein synthesis is clover leaf model. Okay, so I am just drawing that structure here. So the tRNA structure, see, it's single stranded structure only, but it will remain bonded at certain places. Okay. Okay, it will remain bonded at certain places. We will discuss it why there are no bondings at some places, why there are bonding only at certain places. The structure is not getting okay. Here is a small lump. Then here is another loop. Okay. This is one end. Okay, structure of tRNA, and there is definite bend and definite structure should be definite when you draw, and this loop is little more big compared to the other one. It has more number of bases here, and anyway this is not this much small, like comparatively this is big. Okay, clover leaf model of tRNA. This is the 5' end. This is the 5' end and this is the 3' end. Just imagine it's a single polynucleotide chain. But when one chain is parallel to the other one due to bending, when the two chains come parallel, if there are complementary bases, they pair. If a uracil coming nearby, it will pair. So such way it's paired and arranged. Okay, these are regions paired. Whereas these regions remain unpaired. So bases are not paired here. Okay, free bases. There are reasons that we will discuss. Okay. The structure of tRNA, clover leaf model proposed by Hawley, and in this structure, this loop, this particular loop is known as DHU loop. Okay, and this is amino acid synthetase binding loop. Means this loop is actually binding to the enzyme. Okay, amino acid synthetase enzyme for translation. Binding loop. Okay, to that enzyme, this structure binds with this loop, DHU loop. Okay, and this loop is known as T-Cy-C loop. Okay, T-Cy-C loop, and this is the ribosome binding loop, ribosomal binding loop. By this portion, it is binding to ribosome. Okay, and this end there is a CCA end. CCA. I will just draw it correct because it is little more. Okay, the base is CCA. Bases at the 3' end for every one, it is CCA. So this end here it binds with an amino acid. So this is amino acid binding site. Amino acid is attached to this place. Now no need to draw any amino acid there, we will discuss it. Okay. The structure of tRNA proposed by Hawley. Clover leaf model. Then understand this loop is known as anticodon loop. This loop is known as anticodon loop. And here there are 3 bases exposed. I mean outside due to a curving molecule. It's not internally placed. This 3 bases combination can be called as an anticodon. We will discuss it. What is an anticodon? Okay. So the structure of tRNA proposed by Hawley is called cloverleaf model. It is a 2D structure, 2-dimensional structure. This structure has 3 main loops. There is a small lump, and this is a 5' end of the RNA, and this part is a 3' end. The 3' end is with the CCA sequences, and here the amino acid can be bound. This region is known as amino acid binding site. This loop is known as a DHU loop, and this loop is known as P-C loop, and this loop is known as anticodon loop. With this portion, the tRNA attached to enzyme. With this portion, tRNA attaches to ribosome binding. With this portion, tRNA attaches to what? mRNA. We will discuss it. So this is reading the frame. We will discuss that section detail. So why these regions are loop, not binding? Why this and this is not binding, this and this is not binding, and making a straight structure? Why there is a loop? There is no any bondings here because the loops contain unusual nucleotides, not the common nucleotides. Which are the common nucleotides in RNA? Which are the 4 common nucleotides in RNA? Adenosine nucleotide, uracil nucleotide, cytosine nucleotide, and guanine nucleotide. These 4 nucleotides are common. Whereas here there are unusual nucleotides like inosine, okay, then this one dihydroxyuridine, that's why the name, since there are more DHU there, that loop is called so. Dihydroxyuridine, okay, this is an unusual nucleotide, this is another unusual nucleotide, and pseudouridine. This may be a question for entrance. It may not come for our exam, board exam, because it is not there in a textbook. So these loops are remaining looped, not bonded, because their pairing is not possible. There are many unusual nucleotides present inside. The 3 major unusual nucleotides are inosine, represented by I, then dihydroxyuridine, represented by DHU, pseudouridine, represented by Psi. This is Psi. That pseudouridine is more here. Okay. So these unusual nucleotides are present here. Here may be inosine, here may be Psi, like that. So it cannot pair. It will remain as loop. That's about the structure of tRNA. Then very important thing we have to learn is this part of the tRNA. Okay? See, this part of tRNA can read mRNA. Okay? So suppose on the mRNA, here is AUG. What is? Initiator codon. AUG is present on this is mRNA. Okay? So the mRNA should be copied to what? Amino acid chain, protein. That's what we are discussing. But AUG, methionine cannot go and bind. So to attach to AUG, methionine cannot come and bind. So this is acting as adapter. This is bringing methionine to attach here. Okay. So understand, the codon is, this is the codon. We call this is the triplet codon. First example, AUG on the mRNA is the triplet codon. So this triplet codon can bind to what? This anticodon. For that, anticodon must be what? Anticodon must be UAC. Okay? Understand? A tRNA with its anticodon UAC can come and bind to this codon. So this is the initiator codon, AUG. So this tRNA we can call as initiator tRNA. This can be called as initiator tRNA. Which one? A tRNA with this anticodon. That only binds here. This is the initiator tRNA. It brings which amino acid? Attaching site is this one. Which amino acid binds here? Will be here. AUG stands for which amino acid? Methionine. Okay, this is the way. See, the methionine is our charger. Okay, this is our socket, plug point. This is our plug point. Methionine cannot join here. So this is our adapter. This acts as the adapter to join or bring methionine to AUG. Is it okay? It cannot, methionine cannot directly attaches to AUG. So the tRNA acts as an adapter which can read the frame on one hand with the help of its anticodon and can bring amino acid on the other hand. This is the role of tRNA in translation. Next class we will discuss. Okay, every tRNA has an anticodon. It can bind to the codon and it has an amino acid binding site where the amino acid can be brought. Okay, this is the structure of tRNA and the specification, how it functions also clear, I think. How it functions as an adapter. Okay, so structure of tRNA you are clear. The how it functions also clear. How can it function as an adapter? Because it has an anticodon to bind to this side and it has an amino acid binding site to carry the amino acid. So it can, on one side it can bring amino acid, on other side it can read the mRNA triplet codon. Then my question is, you know how many different triplets are there? How many different functional triplets are there? How many are there? 61 triplets are there. Okay? Okay. Then see, this is specific. Anticodon is specific to this. How many different types of tRNAs are required? Every triplet is different. 61 are there. Then if this is specific, if the anticodon is specific for codon, 61 tRNAs are required. Is it not? Actually, 61 different tRNAs are required to bind to each triplet. But in nature, I mean in a protein synthesis, 61 different tRNAs are not there, not required. Number may be millions, 61 different types are not there. In order to understand this, there is a hypothesis, Woebel hypothesis. Okay? Woebel hypothesis says that, very simple only. See, if this is highly specific, 61 these types are required to read 61 different types of triplet. But this is not so. According to Woebel hypothesis, the first nucleotide of the codon, third nucleotide of the anticodon can pair non-complementary. That is what Woebel hypothesis says. That means it is not must to come C here to bind with G. These two only highly specific. In order to bind with G, C is not compulsory there. It can also pair non-complementary. So that requirement will be less than 61 different types. Okay, just as an example, everywhere it is not non-complementary. If U comes here, if the first one is U, if U comes as the first letter, first nucleotide of the codon, okay, if it's U, it can pair either to A or to G. Normally, if it's U coming here, what should be there in the anticodon? There should be A. But it can pair with G also. Okay, not with everything. Okay, there is some lenience. Okay, so we can say, according to Woebel hypothesis, the first and third nucleotide pair of anticodon and codon is showing non-complementary base pairing also. It is not strictly complementary. So it is giving some leniency so that less than 61 different triplets are enough for translation to occur. I mean, pRNAs are enough for translation to occur. This is also not there in the textbook. Just understand what is Hubble hypothesis. May be helpful for your entrance NEET examination. Okay. So that's about the structure, and we will discuss the translation process in the next class. Okay. Thank you.